Alright, I got her out. Blow it up!
Wait, what?
I'm too young to die!
My head. Where the hell am I?
Welcome. I've been expecting you.
Soul?
How'd you know it was me?
This video is on your channel.
Fair enough.
Anyway, how did I get here? And where's the commentary jail? And Saibi?
Who just warped us out of cyberspace?
Cyberspace, really? That's the best thing you... you know what? Never mind. I'm here to tell you about...
I blew up the jail.
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
Hey you. Do you have something to kill the time with?
This random video I just found on the floor?
Oh cool, what's it about?
Well, that was a mistake. Okay, Fawn, get the Pokemon avatar.
Yeah, I'm out, and I'm taking the Pokemon avatars with me. Bye! Ain't no way I'm doing this shit again.
So, just the three of us then?
Oh hell no! You're not going to use my channel mascot.
Ah!
Better.
Okay, I'm ready to go. What? What is it? Put that away!
I have a lot of problems.
Okay, so before we get to the actual video, we should probably explain a bit. This video is Top 10 Least Favorite Pokemon by Ozzymitsu, a PokeTuber, aka we've already set our standards low.
Now, if you haven't heard of Ozzymitsu, he's a more recent PokeTuber who just started last year and whose main videos are top 10s, let's plays, and discussion videos, and after watching the video in question, I can safely say that we were pretty much spot on with our expectations.
If we set them 4 times lower than we actually did. Throughout this video we'll see bullshit reasoning, stretch out jokes, and psychological self-torture. But if you don't believe us, just see for yourself. Cue video.
Yes, we are just having the news coming right now that we have 7 years.
Oh, what is this abomination?
Saibi, rude! Don't talk about her that way.
I wasn't talking about her, I was talking about the green screen. Like, look at all this black stuff around her hair. Did he put the color mat on the lowest possible setting or film this with minimal lighting or something? I mean, I know green screens are hard to pull off properly, but that doesn't excuse how sloppy this one is.
And that's 7 brand new Pokemon, but who's the cutest one? Well, it has to be. Yes, thank you very much, Harold. It has to be Pika-Blob. It's Pika-Blob.
Oh my god, it's so fun, fluffy, it's so cute, I just want to give it a massive hug, it's so cute!
Yeah, so this very special newscast was brought to us by Evilite. Thank you so much for sponsoring us today.
I'm just gonna flat out say it. What the hell was that intro skit supposed to be? It doesn't relate to the video, the awkward acting took all the fun out of it, and it basically was just a huge waste of time. Besides, who's this Eviolite that girl mentions at the end? Is this a person? Is this a new site for Pokemon related news? Is this a secret society that makes Rule 34 of Pokemon?
Wait, what?
Elaborate, woman!
And if this is supposed to be a joke, let me tell you something. If the joke is so obscure that it needs to be explained to be understood, then it didn't work. I mean, this is Comedy 101 for crying out loud.
Also, that Pokemon cry made it a bit difficult to understand her. This is a reoccurring issue throughout the video and it's really annoying. So stop!
I haven't battled in a while.
Sir, could you speak up? We cannot hear you! Seriously, compared to the rest of the video, this section is way quieter. What would have been better is to record your lines on your normal setup, then synced it up with the video. Also, the even bigger problem here, that intro skit with Isla had nothing to do with the rest of the video, and it leaves the viewers very confused, especially for people not familiar with either of you.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Omega Ruby, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Welp, I completely lost it.
Okie
What the
dokie.
fuck is even going on now?
Mega Kangaskhan, how did I not see that coming? Oh no, I'm so surprised, fake out. Oh no, double fake out. Oh no, I'm so surprised. I hate it. I just hate it.
Really? You sure don't sound like you hate it given the only slightly miffed tone in your voice. In fact, you seem to struggle with conveying emotions a lot throughout this video, especially anger.
No, no, no. Cut! Let's start this video all over again. Cue the intro.
Are we finally done with this intro skit? Yes? About time. Ozzy, could you next time make the intro more snappy and less confusing, instead of the 1 minute and 20 seconds of what the fuck is going on, followed by lol, let's just start over. Honestly, I don't really care about the length of the intro skit, but if it doesn't make any kind of coherent sense, then I'm more than happy to put the freaking gun to my head. Figuratively, of course.
Hello everyone, my name's Ozzymitsu, and you know what I want to talk about today? My least favourite Pokemon. The motto for Pokemon has always been... Unless of course you're Ash, then your motto is, never evolve your Pokemon and lose against countless opponents, never winning the league, and still aspiring to be a Pokemon master, despite the fact that you use tactics like aim for the horn to take out ground-type Pokemon with electric-type attacks, because you're a no-life loser with friends who hate you.
Well, this was a load of crap. Never evolved Pokemon? Ash never evolved Pikachu because it didn't want to evolve. Besides, he's a Charizard, Butterfree, Kingler, Dunfan, Swellow, Sceptile, Staraptor, Infernape, Blavony, Crocodile, Ninja, Goodra, Talonflame, and etc. All of which he trained and evolved from their base form.
Use tactics like aim for the horn to take out ground-type Pokemon with electric-type attacks? While that is somewhat questionable, types aren't everything in a Pokemon battle. Even with a type disadvantage, Ash still did win that battle and many other battles with his odd tactics, which I think says that he's a good strategist more than anything.
Besides all of that, what's the purpose of this whole tangent anyway? It certainly has nothing to do with the least favorite Pokemon list, that's for sure. And if this was meant as a joke, then well, it does fall pretty hard on its face by being too stretched out.
Though his mom is kind of hot. And he does get all the girls. Ayy.
You bring out all the Poke waifus but exclude Dawn? What's the world coming to?
Who cares? Dawn is worst Pokegirl anyway. Iris is where it's at.
My gun says otherwise.
Pokemon. Before commenting, please appreciate this is my own personal opinion, and if any of your favourites are on this list, that's okay. Let me know how much of a no-life loser I am who should kill himself in the comment sections below. Trust me, there's nothing I haven't heard before. Yeah man, you sound like a 12-year-old. Or how about the time someone said you should kill yourself with an axe? Or how about the time someone said you're a cheap version of Tamashi Hiroka? Or how about the time that someone said you need speech therapy? Yo, why did you censor me then? I didn't even swear. Opinions and memes, that's why.
Ugh, just stop. You do this voice of the haters thing a lot throughout the video and it's annoying every time. Mostly because it feels like you're making the audience the enemy, as well as playing the victim card at the same time. Not to mention, it absolutely kills the momentum of the video.
This isn't helped at all by the fact that you spend literally half a minute mocking your haters and shoving the flimsy anti-facts, I mean, it's my opinion, down everybody's throats. Just say it once and we're good. No need to drag this intro out even longer.
I know the T-Tar was only following orders from that dang poacher, but poor Arbok and Weezing, they had to be separated from their trainers despite not wanting to, because T-Tar would have cleaned and wrecked house. Why T-Tar? Why you do this? You make me cry every time.
That almost made me cry. Out of agony. The way he tried to express how much you disliked T-Tar for being so mean to the poor little Pokemon was poorly acted and it sounded just really bad. Also, this scene from the anime is more the trainer's fault than T-Tar's fault. You even mentioned that yourself. It's only one scene of Tyranitar being a dick towards the other Pokemon, so I hate T-Tar as a whole.
I often think, well, if I don't like a Pokemon based on its aesthetic appeal, how would I improve it? And honestly, I wouldn't know how. For me personally, the design is somewhat lazy, and it has mediocre stats at best. The only optimistic thing I have to say about Basculin is it has some pretty good abilities. Shame they're just on a useless Pokemon.
As a stickler for editing, I have to bring this up now. One of the biggest problems I have with your video is that the editing is so slow, it's borderline uncomfortable to watch. Nearly every image slides, wipes, or fades on screen at a shuckle's pace. Your syncing is all over the place and it all looks incredibly unnatural.
I know we already said something about the volume and the top-notch quality of the sound effects in this video, but can we just address how out of sync some of these sound effects are? A whoosh sound effect with a snail pace fade in from the stat doesn't fit at all. It's like putting Mute City music over a chess match.
No! Chess is exciting! This isn't!
I would just like to mention that he spent a majority of this segment talking about the design of the Basculin. And while the design can be a factor in someone not liking a Pokemon, if it's the major reason, there's a problem. If he had cut the amount of time he spent on the design in half, it would have been much more acceptable.
And that time could have been spent talking about other aspects of Basculin. You do briefly mention that Basculin has mediocre stats and good abilities, but you don't go any further with them. which indicates that you're a lazy ass who refuses to go into detail.
Number 8. Heatrun. Now, the only reason I dislike Heatrun is because it's such a fairy killer. With the steel fire steel typing, it has a quarter resistance to fairy type attacks, which is such a pain in the grass.
Oh no! There's a solid counter to my favorite Pokemon type. Whatever shall I do? But really, disregarding the fact that this complaint can be applied to any Pokemon that's a solid counter to literally any of the other types, getting on the case of one specific Pokemon for countering one specific type is totally petty, a complete non-issue, and an underwhelming main point, especially since you can just switch to another Pokemon to counter Heatran itself, but we'll get to that in a minute. By the way, great job singling out Heatran as a fairy killer when practically any poison type can do the same job and arguably better. Where are they on this list again? Sure, they take half damage from fairy moves as opposed to Heatran's quarter damage, but given how physically frail many fairy Pokemon are and how many poison types can learn powerful physical moves like Poison Jab and Gunk Shot, I'm surprised you don't get on any of their cases for being fairy killers and only go after Heatran, whose only super effective move against a pure fairy type is Iron Head, a physical move. And guess what? Even a purely offensive Heatran is used more as a special attacker due to having a much higher special attack stat than its physical attack. And what's the fairy type's highest stat on average? Special defense. I'm not even disagreeing that Heatran's a fairy killer, it's just not the worst offender of your quote. So this just baffles me on so many levels.
I've actually used Heatrun a lot in Wi-Fi battles, and don't get me wrong, it is a lot of fun to use, but it gets access to such bothersome moves that I don't have all too much fun battling against it. It doesn't help that I suck at battling anyway, and I hardly carry a Pokemon with Earthquake.
I can kinda understand why Heatran is a pain to deal with, considering how many resistances this bitch has. But at the same time, you admitted yourself that Earthquake, an Earth-type move that quite a few Pokemon can learn, kills Heatran pretty easily. Even if Heatran has an air balloon equipped, an item that makes the Pokemon that holds it immune to ground attacks until the Pokemon gets hit, there are quite a few ways to work around that. For example, you can attack with an other move first to pop the balloon before sending Heatran to the 7th gate of hell.
Number 7, Barbarical. Again, similar to Basculin, there's not really much I can say about Barbarical. People say he has a lot of use in competitive play, but I just look at this Pokemon and he just doesn't have that oomph about it. You know, that je ne sais quoi, its typing in my opinion doesn't help you out all that much either. I mean, just look at it. I genuinely believe Barbarical was given to us because the designers felt like they had to reach a certain quota.
It's lunchtime and I need to think of a Pokemon design. Need to be sick, man.
Oh come on, you were so close to making a great joke, but you blew it. You had the perfect setup and timing for this, but then you dragged the skit out and lost the humor, wasting both the potential and 30 seconds of my life that I'll never get back.
Also, throughout this entry, pretty much the only thing you bring up is its design. You bring up its typing for a brief moment, but again, you don't go into detail on why you don't like it or why it's bad in the first place. Next entry!
Number 6, Rhyperior, or as I like to say, Rhyperior. Get it? Cause he's inferior?
Don't explain the joke, it ruins it.
How and why is Rhyperior, the last evolution in the Rhyhorn line, inferior to its predecessors? Last time I checked, Rhyperior was one of the best Pokemon in the rarely used tier and can even hold its own in the overused tier, while Rhydon is almost never used. While throwing Eviolite on Rhydon will greatly increase its defenses to the point where it's higher than Rhyperior's defense stat, he breaks it up in a second, that doesn't change the fact that Rhyperior is still the better attacker and overall the best choice out of the three.
Also, using Eviolite on Rhydon takes up an item slot, but Rhyperior doesn't have that problem, so it's free to use any item it wants.
Anyway, I dislike everything about this Pokemon, from its design, its evolution method, to its typing. I'm not really a fan of many rock or ground types anyway, so that doesn't help you out either. The only positive thing Rhyperior has contributed to in Pokemon is that you can whack an Eviolite on Rhydon, but honestly, I don't like the fact that Rhyperior doesn't stay true to the design of Rhyhorn or Rhydon.
How does Rhyperior not stay true to the designs of Rhyhorn and Rhydon? Is it because orange is added to its color scheme? No, really, I honestly don't get it. Would you mind explaining?
Furthermore, out of all of the Pokemon to get an evolution in Diamond Pearl, why is it specifically Rhyperior that ticks you off? Yanmega and Mismagius change quite a bit, for example. So what's the deal here?
Also, once again, bringing up nothing but typing and design, and failing to explain. Why yes, that was the sound of a record breaking, why you ask?
Number 5, Smeargle.
Seriously, every time I look at this Pokemon, it just makes me so angry. In my opinion, it's just such a stupid Pokemon. It relies on stupid tactics like Dark Void, Tail Glow / scumbag gimmickry. It's just, ugh, I hate it. You're a hypocrite, man.
That is the 4th time you've made that joke in this countdown.
Do it. Please end me.
With pleasure.
So no, please, we still need him.
Let me die.
In all honesty, I just dislike this Pokemon because whenever I go up against it in battle, I sigh. Mainly because even if I am carrying a fighting type move, it's probably Sash and it gets an opportunity to set up gimmicks.
Dude, there's so many ways to work around Smeargle. Why not use Sleep Power or Spore to put him to sleep? Why not use a grass Pokemon so that the Spore of the Smeargle will be ineffective? Now the players almost always put Spore on the Smeargle. Or why not use Taunt? You know, that one freaking move that will render every status or setup move useless? Use that little thing in your head that's got a brain for once.
Speaking of overused Pokemon, you know who else gets on my very last nerve? Primal Groudon. Regular Groudon is fine. Regular Groudon is weak. But Primal Groudon is just so stupid.
Oh, so this segment is Primal Groudon exclusively. I see. Then tell me, why did you put Kangaskhan itself on the list and not just Mega Kangaskhan, since literally all your gripes with it come from its Mega form?
Number 4, Kangaskhan. Now, I didn't really have too much of an opinion on Kangaskhan all too much from generations 1 to 5. It was when it received a Mega when I began to hate it.
And before anyone says anything, I know Mega Evolutions and Primal Reversions are technically classified as 2 different things, but they're still powered up forms that require an item to use. Mechanically, it's pretty much the same thing. The point is that you're being inconsistent.
Another reason why I have bitter feelings towards Groudon is that in my playthrough of Omega Ruby, I accidentally used my Master Ball to capture it. I could have quit and started again, but unfortunately I hadn't saved for a very long time, and I just didn't feel like going through all that again. I mean, I know it's not Groudon's fault.
Well, good job shooting yourself in the foot by admitting it's not the Pokemon's fault.
Yeah, shit man, throwing a Muscle Ball at a legendary Pokemon is such a waste. I mean, you could have used the same Muscle Ball to get yourself one of those rare and hard to catch Poochyena instead of the first legendary Pokemon you can capture. Sure, you could have used the Muscle Ball later on for catching Deoxys or Rayquaza, but let's be honest, capturing Groudon with a Muscle Ball isn't the worst thing you could have done, and it's certainly not a good reason to hate a Pokemon just because you done goofed.
I can already tell people hate me for this one. At number 2, we have Charizard. Now, I've always disliked Charizard since day one. I just hated how everyone in school, when we used to play Pokemon and we thought we were cool enough to play it, people would ridicule your choice of Pokemon if it wasn't pro Charizard.
So, you hate Charizard because it's popular. Alright, that's it! Somebody hold me back!
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Using popularity as a reason to like or dislike anything is completely and utterly stupid. Popularity should rarely, if ever, affect the quality of the subject. Sure, you can be tired of it being brought up in conversation all the time, but that does not make Charizard a bad Pokemon.
Disliking Charizard also has a bit of a backstory.
Ozzy, what the heck? You could have easily ended the segment there, but nope. You just had to tag on another story about your childhood, dragging this out.
Hey man, it's cool. Let him tell his story. Maybe this won't be so bad.
So in school, like any other kid, I collected a lot of the Pokemon cards. In my first ever Pokemon pack, I received a Charizard. One of the older kids at school saw that I pulled this and demanded that I give it to him. Me being the short geeky kid who was too scared of any confrontation, ended up handing it over. And again, I know this isn't Charizard's fault, but my own personal biases and experiences have led me to have a pessimistic attitude towards Charizard.
I take it back. It was that bad.
Did you really just make the same mistake twice in a row? You presented a personal story as a reason why you hate Charizard, admitted it's not the Pokemon's fault, yet you're still holding that as a point against it. Ozzy, you're out of feet to shoot yourself in.
If you absolutely need to hold a grudge against someone here, hold it against the bully that took your card, not the Pokemon that was on it. Even then, the fact that you're holding a grudge all the way from, what, elementary school? Over a Pokemon card just shows a lack of maturity and a refusal to move on.
I'm sorry Zard, it's nothing personal, but you made my childhood hell.
For saying nothing personal, you're taking this very personally. Oh, and those two stories were enough to make your childhood hell? First world problems at its finest.
Don't bully him, Shadow. I also have psychological scars from getting my Pokemon cards stolen.
Really, bro?
I still cry at night.
Cybe, you're ruining the mood! Turn it off!
My ultimate least favorite Pokemon is Chatot. Words cannot describe how much I loathe this Pokemon, but I'll try and articulate why I dislike Chatot so much. I just dislike its design.
Why don't you like its design? Is it because it's very basic? Do you not like the colors they used? Just give a clear explanation as to why you don't like it. Again, you can have opinions all you want, but at least try to convey those feelings in a manner so that your audience also understands the hatred you feel towards Chatot.
I hate its cry. I hate the way it looks on Bulbapedia.
So you don't mind how it looks on sites other than Bulbapedia? Wording is key, man!
And it's just such a pain in the grass. It's just so annoying to battle, with access to Nasty Plot plus a Stab Boom Burst equals a not so fun battle. It also has a signature move Chatter, which does damage as well as having a high chance of confusing your opponent. It's basically an even more annoying way of using Swagger, kind of.
Kind of? Care to explain that comparison, because I'm not seeing too many similarities. Chatter is a move that has 65 power and confuses the opponent. Swagger, on the other hand, is a non-attacking move that confuses the opponent and increases their attack by 2 stages. So really the only way it's similar is that it confuses them. Honestly, a better comparison would be that it's a confuse rate that damages.
Besides, with Swagger boosting the attack set by 2 stages, it will give more damage when the Pokemon hits itself rather than with normal confusion. Meaning that if it's used against you and RNGesus hates your life, it will be far more annoying than Chatter.
Chatter, I freaking hate you. And did I mention I hate its cry?
Nope, I am not listening to 10 seconds of obnoxious and annoying sounds, which, by the way, drown out Chatot's cry to where you can barely even hear it, defeating the entire purpose of this clip even being here. Is this supposed to prove a point? Is this supposed to be funny? Well, guess what? It accomplishes neither. Just like the rest of this list. Final thoughts, now!
Well, goddamn, was this a drag to watch? My biggest complaints about the video are about the overuse and unnecessary amount of sound effects that you used, how off-point most of those sound effects were, and the poorly explained or downright stupid arguments. We have the Rhyperior segment, where you only focus on design and typing, the Chatot segment, where you don't even give an explanation as to why you dislike his design, and how can we forget about the Barbarical segment? Fucking top notch, man. Also, for the love of God, work on your acting skills, because as they are now, they just come off as cringy at best. One last thing, I can see that you have potential with editing because of the amount of layers you handled in that video, but simply put, the images move way too slow, and most of the time the speed that an image flies in or fades in doesn't match up with the sound and volume of the sound effects. Try to work on those things and I think it's all good. And now, lovely assistants, your turns.
Okay, Ozzy, I don't think this was the worst video in existence. However, I do have a lot that I hate about it. Besides what Soul said about your reasoning and editing, my biggest problem is that whole voice of the haters thing you did throughout the video. First off, it killed your momentum just about every time you did it. Second off, as a creator, you should not be attacking your audience like that, even if it's directed towards just your haters, because it makes you look really bad. Especially when you also play the victim card at the same time. Every time these segments came up, it just felt like you were shutting down any room for debate. Just never do that again and we're good.
I'll give you this, Ozzy. Your editing, while it needs work, was admittedly really fancy. I definitely see you having great potential as an editor. Like Soul said, keep working on your timing and audio balancing, and we're pretty solid there, but in terms of scripting, there's a lot of room for improvement. Aside from your bad reasoning, which in a lot of segments could be boiled down to typing and design or petty nonsense and failing to explain, your jokes were dragged out too long to retain their humor, some of them didn't make any sense and came off as random, and I still don't have any idea what that intro was about. And if I can add one more thing to what Shadow already said about your voice of the haters thing, there's nothing inherently wrong with having a running gag as long as they're short and well timed. The problem here, besides attacking your audience, is that the gag lasted too long to be funny past the first time and killed your momentum every time, which was in basically every other segment. Don't take this as a sign that I hate you based off this one video. Again, I really do think you have potential, and I can tell that you're at least making an effort. As long as you're willing to keep trying to improve and listen to constructive criticism and use it to improve, I have no reason to even dislike you, and I could even see you becoming one of the better PokeTubers.
And with that, we're done!
Finally.
Alright, who blew up the commentary jail?
Wait, this is a misunderstanding. I pressed a button by accident. I swear I didn't mean it.
Tell that to the judge. You're going to the other newly opened commentary jail.
Ha! Take him away, boys.
It was Cybe's plan!
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, you liar!
Well, someone's gotta come back with us to the jail.
Not it!
Why are you all looking... Guys, this is a joke, right? You aren't for real, right? Guys. Guys. You guys are so dead when I come out of here. Gonna get you, Mo. Get you, my Pokemon.